Today we're testing TikTok's most viewed snacks because summer break is almost here and I refuse to let you guys go broke, bored, or hungry. But which snacks on TikTok are actually worth your time and money? Let's find out. First up, with 4 million views, I'm gonna save you some money and make the mango dragon fruit refresher from Starbucks. It looks pretty easy and it only contains a few ingredients because you start with a cup of ice. And then the creator adds some dragon fruit chunks right into the glass. Somebody said, I'm running to the store to find dragon fruit chunks. Where did you find it? Honestly, I found these cube dragon fruit in the frozen section at Sprouts, but you can also find it at Target too. And what I like about it is that it's frozen, not the freeze-dried kind that Starbucks uses. But now we just have to pour in some lemonade, and I love how the dragon fruit dyes the lemonade a pretty pink color. But to add the mango in our dragon fruit refresher, we're gonna add some cranberry mango juice. And it's so pretty! I don't know about you, but I think this looks better than Starbucks. And somebody said, I need to try this since I bought one of these today and it cost me $7. $7 for just juice and dragon fruit is insane. Let's give it a try. Oh my gosh. That is so refreshing. Somehow all the flavors together just taste so refreshing. It's a little bit puckerish. It's sweet and tart and tangy. I love it. But somebody complained the Starbucks version has caffeine, which then another person says it's kind of like the Cannonball. And what's a Cannonball? Apparently Mr. Beast has his own Starbucks drink and it's the Cannonball. And shout out to Crew and Bo for telling me about this because now I'm making it for you. But she starts off by adding some Tazo passion tea, a little bit of green tea for your caffeine, some of our mango dragon fruit refresher base. We need our dragon fruit cubes, and Mr. Beast adds a little bit of mango refresher, a little bit of pink drink with some freeze-dried strawberries. Mix this all up, and I am loving the ombre color here. It's giving 2016. I might like this better than this, but they're both really good, and I just saved you guys a ton of money from going to Starbucks, so I'm gonna give these drinks a 9 out of 10. But keep watching because we have more snacks to test. And now with 8 million views, if giving away roses is too expensive, why not make some pizza roses? Honestly, that's not a bad idea. And it looks super easy and fun to make. We're gonna start off with some pizza crust. I hate using these things. It's the pop that always gets me. Exactly what I mean. This one was exceptionally hard to open, but now she just unrolls the dough out and cuts it into strips. I'm guessing it looks about this big. So once she cuts them into strips, we're gonna layer mozzarella cheese right on top. I also need to cut these into strips. Okay, so each one takes about 3, but some of the dough I cut a little bit too small. Now we add some pizza sauce. Somebody said, don't skip on the pizza sauce, so I'm gonna layer this on. She used a squeeze bottle, but since I don't have one, I'm just gonna layer this on thick. And now we're just gonna take our pepperoni, layer them with the top sticking out. I don't have a ton of room to layer, so I'm gonna go every other one first. And then we roll. Somebody said those are like cinnamon buns, but pizza. So I guess it could be a cinnamizza or a pizza min roll. The tricky part is to keep the pepperonis in because it keeps just wanting to slide out. But once it's done, it looks so cute. Okay, I'm gonna finish the rest. Now she adds a little bit of oregano on top of every rose. I feel like a little bit of garlic butter would have been so good on that too. But now we're gonna transfer our pizza min rolls into a cupcake pan. These are jumbo size, so they have room to grow. I ran out of pepperoni, so I subbed some with salami and it should work. I'm so excited for these though because they kind of remind me of the Little Caesars Crazy Puffs, except they look so much better. I'm gonna pop them in the oven. Whoa. Our pizza roses are all done and they look so good. They smell incredible too. I need to let them cool real quick so they can come out, but I can't wait to try this. Okay, I think they're ready to come out. Beautiful. Oh, this one's a little toasty. Still beautiful. Some of them are a little more toasty than others. The recipe said to cook it at 425 for 15, and I feel like that might be a little too long and too high. Other than the little bit of toastiness, I still feel like they look really good. But let's see if mine has that epic cheese pool. Did I not put enough cheese? That's okay. I don't know if an epic cheese pool means it's good or not, but let's give it a try. Could it use more cheese? Yes. Next time I'm gonna use shredded mozzarella to cover the bases a little bit more. But it tastes like pizza and delicious, and somebody says these actually look better than a pizza roll, so I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. And now with 13 million views, do I like pickles? Yeah. Do I like spices? meh. Did I watch this whole thing and now I crave a chamoy pickle? I'm still on the fence about that, but let's give this chamoy pickle kit a try. So she starts with a pickle in a pouch. This is the craziest thing I've seen. Let's cut it open and here's our giant pickle. Wait, is this the same one that Disneyland has? But now she does the unthinkable and drinks the pickle juice. If you're curious to know what pickle juice is like, it's giving the aftertaste of a McDonald's cheeseburger. It's kind of tangy, kind of salty, kind of weird, but not that bad. But now she cuts off the top of her pickle and hollows it out. And we need to go deep in this because we're gonna stuff it with a lot of things. I feel like I'm gonna need a gadget for this. I got my apple core and just stick it in. Oh yeah, it doesn't work as good on a pickle as it does on an apple. 3 out of 10. But now she rolls the pickle inside a fruit roll-up. And I think I'm gonna go for the tie-dye one. I've wrapped fruit roll-ups around my fingers. I've wrapped it around ice cream, but never a pickle. There's a first for everything. Is this gonna fit? Just barely. Gotta get it to stretch. Now that it's nice and snug, she says in Australia they have this candy called squiggles, which kind of reminds me of sour straws. So I'm gonna use green apple sour straws. That took up almost all the space inside, but now we also stuff it with some Takis. I'm going for the chili limon flavor here because I can't handle the other ones. Okay, our pickle is pretty much done, but now we have to roll it in a sauce. So let me grab a plate and then we're gonna add some chamoy. It's like a sweet and tangy sauce that's made of chili powder, fruit concentrate, and it even says it pairs well with pickles. The pickle is starting to get kind of watery, but now we roll this whole thing in the sauce and then she sprinkles on some tahini before taking a bite. This is gonna be messy. I'm not really sure what to think of this, but somebody said my sister vomited when she tried it and I did not get to try it. But somebody else said, I love this for a snack. Am I gonna love it or hate it? Let's find out. You know, there's just some things that shouldn't go together, like pickles with sour candy and fruit roll-ups. I think there was just a lot going on. The pickles by itself, good. Takis by itself, great. All the other things together, not so great. 3 out of 10. Oh my god, that was foul. If you like cake pops, I found a video with 16.4 million views that makes them with Oreos. No baking required. But first, she starts by adding her Oreos into a food processor and grinds them up until they're nice and sandy. She says we need like 36 of them, but I'm just gonna half the recipe and make sure this actually works. But she also mentions we need to save some for later. Okay, now let's pour this into another bowl, and to make them stick together, we're gonna add some cream cheese. I've seen cream cheese frosting that already comes in a box like this, and I wonder if that would be good, but I feel like this is already gonna be sweet enough. I'm just gonna smash it around and then mix it really well, then roll them up into little balls. Somebody asked, can't you just use frosting instead of cream cheese? Honestly, they kind of look the same at this point, so I'd say give it a try. Okay, our mixture is nice and thick. Now I just have to roll this into balls, like a little truffle. I'm so tempted to take a bite out of this. Our Oreo balls are done. Now I just have to pop them in the fridge for 30 minutes to set. Our Oreo balls are almost set, but before we take them out, I have to melt some white chocolate. Whoa, our white chocolate looks so good. Now it's time to dip them balls. They're nice and firm and easy to work with, but she takes a skewer, puts it in at the end, and dips. Okay, this part is a little bit harder than I thought because it fell off the skewer, so I'm just gonna use a fork. Put it back on the tray, and then with the leftover Oreo crumbles, she just sprinkles it right on top. Let's finish some more. I guess if you wanted to be extra fancy, you can do little drizzles on top too. Last sprinkle, and now we have to pop them back in the fridge to let everything set. Somebody called this an inside out Oreo, and they kind of do look like that actually. You can't really call these cake pops, but they certainly are cake balls with a little skirt. Let's see if they're as good as cake pops. If you didn't tell me that these are not cake pops, I would not even know, because these taste exactly like cake pops. They have that soft truffly center and then coated with the white chocolate. It really is like an inside out Oreo in cake pop form. kind of. I love that there's only 3 ingredients you probably already have at home, and if you're bored, this is a good one. 9 out of 10. And now with 22 million views, I don't know if people were just mesmerized by that smoothie swirl or the fact that she got her smoothie so perfectly thick, but this ocean blue smoothie bowl looks pretty good and pretty easy to make too. So in a blender, she throws in probably a whole bag of frozen mangoes, and then what everybody in the comments thought were marshmallows, they're really just coconut milk ice cubes. They do look like marshmallows, really hard ones. Then she adds a splash of milk, and to give it that beautiful blue color, some blue spirulina. She adds like a whole tablespoon in there, and somebody in the comments says that stuff's expensive. I'm not sure if I can get my smoothie as thick as hers, but somebody in the comments said to get a thick smoothie, step 1, don't use a blender from 1992. I think my best friend for this though is gonna be this plunger to get things moving. Well, let's give it a try. It's already getting stuck. I'm gonna need to add another splash of milk. I think I need more liquid. This smoothie is a lot harder to make than it looks on camera. Even with a really good blender, it keeps getting stuck, and I can't exactly get that beautiful swirl that they did. I'm gonna add the rest of my liquid and really hope that it comes together. It's starting to do it. The trick is to get it on low speed, not super high speed. This was hard to make, but once it came together, it was satisfying and aesthetic. But I think I put too much blue in there. And now here comes that satisfying pour. And they always have to use the back of this long spoon to flatten it down and do the swirl like this. Nice, let's give it a try. I don't taste too much of the mango. It's more icy than anything. I guess there's a reason why this trend kind of died, but if there's anything the internet loves more than a smoothie bowl, it's an Erewhon smoothie, because this kind of reminds me of the cloud smoothie. But since I still have a little bit in here, let's save ourselves $20 and make our own Erewhon smoothie. She starts by adding some mango, which we know I already have a lot in here. But then we're gonna add some frozen pineapple, frozen banana, half an avocado, which is gonna make it so creamy. If you've never had avocado in a smoothie before, it's so good. She adds more blue spirulina, but I think this is pretty blue. Then we're just gonna add a splash of milk. I feel like the best thing about the Erewhon Cloud smoothie is the design on the cup. It's like a piece of art. So we're gonna start by making some swirls. I have coconut milk here that has some cream, and then we're gonna swipe it along the sides of the cup. Just paint it on. Little swirls here, nice swirls there. Make it look intentionally unintentional. Now let's add another teaspoon of blue spirulina into the cup, and don't be gentle with this, make it fly everywhere. And now let's pour in our cloud smoothie. Now we'll finish it off with some coconut cream or coconut yogurt, and our Erewhon cloud smoothie dupe is complete. Somebody said this in the summer would slap, and I might have to agree, but let's give it a try. Whoa, when you stir it up, it's almost even better. Look at my food art. It's too pretty to drink. This looks like a dream, and I'm on cloud 9. 10 out of 10. I've done so many things with grapes at this point. Tanghulu, sour grapes, frozen grapes, but this might be the first time I'm seeing this. With 23.2 million views, we're gonna try making a grape bark. Yep, you heard that right, a grape bark. She starts by adding her giant mutant grapes into a bowl. And I don't know if it's me, but grapes are getting really big these days. But these are my favorite cotton candy grapes, and they should be really good in this recipe. Imagine these frozen, they'd give such a nice crunch. But now we're gonna toss them in some plain yogurt. I'm not sure I've ever had grapes with yogurt before. Okay, that looks good. Now she spreads it onto a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Whoa. These are jumbo, but let me spread them out real quick. And we're not quite done yet, because the next move has me questioning things. Somebody said grapes and chocolate? No, I don't know why, but in my head, they just don't go together. Same. But in our double boiler, let's melt down our chocolate. Okay, our chocolate is nice, melty, and smooth. Now let's pour it all over the grapes. I'm gonna try to get a nice thick layer on top, just so we have total coverage. Ooh, a waterfall of chocolate. So I still don't know if grapes and chocolate go together, but from here, it looks pretty good. Now I have to freeze it until it's nice and hard. It's the next day, and our grapes are ready. It looks like they've we've expanded too because there's like cracks in our chocolate. And I have to say, this combo right here is a dog's worst enemy. But let's peel it off. She then cuts it into slices and it's not super easy to cut. I wonder if I should have thawed it a little bit. Ugh. But once you see the reveal, somebody said, my trypophobia does not like this. And I don't think mine does either. Okay, well, let's give this small piece a try. Once you get over the brain freeze and like the toothache, the sweetness of the grapes actually pairs really well with chocolate. I don't hate it, but I would probably use smaller grapes next time, and even better, I think cherries would be really good with this. 8 out of 10. Our pizza min rolls earlier got me craving cinnamon rolls, but at 25.1 million views, instead of making cinnamon rolls, we're gonna turn them into bites. And these look easy enough to make because she starts by adding some flour into a bowl with some baking powder, salt, and gives it a good mix. And I like where this is going because I don't need any yeast, wait for it to rise, because now we're just gonna mix it with some milk, vanilla, and pour it straight in. Then she just mixes it with her hands and says this is the perfect way to satisfy a cinnamon roll craving. Perfect way, I'm not sure, but it does get my hands dirty because we're making Play-Doh. I decided to move it onto a cutting board because it's a little bit easier to mix and knead. So once the dough comes together and looks smooth like this, she flattens it out to about a foot long. Then she takes a bench scraper and then cuts it into small pieces and then again in half. And it looks like we just made little gnocchi dumplings. But now we'll transfer our little dumplings back into a bowl. Honestly, this dough is so basic. There's so many things that you can do with them, like dumpling wrappers. I can't think of what else. But now we're gonna pour in some melted butter, and then on the side we have a little bit of sugar that she sprinkles in some cinnamon, mixes that up, and then we're gonna make it rain cinnamon sugar. Let's give everything a toss. This now reminds me of the Auntie Anne's pretzel cinnamon sugar bites. It's looking a little wet, but now she transfers this into a baking pan, and this is where I'll add more of the cinnamon sugar to coat it so it looks a little more dry. And now just give it a good shake. These already look so good, and somebody said this is dangerous because I would eat them all in one sitting. Let's bake it off. Okay, so mine looks a lot more pale than hers once it came out of the oven, but the dough is hard, so I guess it's ready. But now she pours a glaze right on top. Ooh, they're like stuck together, but they came out really easily. I think this is what you call monkey bread. It's a little bit doughier than your regular cinnamon roll, but for a quick and easy snack, it definitely does the job. And if you're also scared of eating the whole thing in one sitting, well, this person said, made it, ate the whole thing, made it again a few hours later. We'll be making it again and again and again and again. Thank you. 8 out of 10. It's 3 p.m. and I'm severely dehydrated. With 60.5 million views, this recipe blew up a few years ago, but I never got to try it. And since it's summer, I feel like this is the perfect time. It's basically a Korean fruit soup and it looks super refreshing. I found this other video where they started with some fruit. We have a combination of blueberries, strawberries, mangoes, and raspberry, but I have to have watermelon in the summer, so let's slice them up. This creator had some cute flower-shaped watermelon, so I have my cutter here and we're gonna recreate that. This is a really sweet watermelon. I've also seen videos of people adding jellies to their hwachae, and I made strawberry matcha jelly. People go kind of wild cutting it, so I'll just slice it. And now we assemble. Let's add all our fruit. Our jellies. This creator also adds coconut jelly. I found this lychee flavored one that's gonna be so good. They're little cubes like this. They're called nata de coco. A bowl of ice to cool it down. And then this is where people were really arguing in the comments because apparently you're supposed to do either strawberry milk or soda. But a lot of creators got confused and did both. I say do whatever you want. And I feel like the combination of strawberry milk and soda sounds pretty good with the fizz. Ooh, that extra fizz looks nice. Let's mix it up. And this is your summer fruit soup. I already feel hydrated just looking at this. Now let's scoop this out into another bowl. I need some jelly in there. Okay, I want jelly, watermelon, and raspberry in my first bite with some milk. Somebody said this is like a fruit cereal, and they couldn't have been more accurate with the description. The watermelon is super refreshing, and the strawberry milk with a little bit of fizz in there. This might be my new favorite thing for summer. I'm gonna have to say, if there's one thing to make from this video, it's the hot chick. 10 out of 10. But if you like this video, go watch me test TikTok's most trending treats. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.